Hello, everyone. I'm Urda, Amalgamate's Artistic Director. Welcome to the fourth in our series of live Commercials for Humanity debuts. And thank you for joining us tonight. For those of you who are new to Amalgamate's work, Amalgamate exists to raise awareness around significant topics and events that affect humanity through authentic storytelling. Our mission is to make the world a better place by transforming the people in it, one story, one event, one collaboration at a time. Our latest initiative is Commercials for Humanity, and that's what has gathered us all here tonight. We've partnered up with 4 nonprofit organizations to create our first series of Commercials for Humanity, which is a collection of online films about under 2 minutes each that use the power of dance and storytelling to compel viewers into action. The inaugural series features organizations that work with some of the most vulnerable populations in our society, including refugees, the homeless, incarcerated youth, and those who are suffering from crippling medical debt. So we are fighting for the causes that we believe in and trying to really rally people together through the arts to help. Now, last week, we debuted Connection in partnership with New York City Relief. And tonight, we're going to watch the first live screening of Stop the Cycle in partnership with Youth for Christ Juvenile Justice Ministry. We'll be talking with Daniel Sanabria, awesome to have you here tonight, about the great work they do and ways that you can support. And we'll also hear from one of our dancers, Manuela Sanchez, or Manny, and gain some insight on the Commercials for Humanity process. Always so fun to get firsthand insight there. Finally, we'll leave plenty of time for a Q&A, so put your questions in the chat. We'd love to hear what's on your mind tonight. Okay, so please take a moment now to put your device at full screen. Don't want you to miss anything. And now the debut of Stop the Cycle.
"84% of juvenile offenders will be arrested again within 5 years. But the cycle can be stopped. We provide mentors that care for youth both in and out of institutions, building relationships to help youth live a life that balances the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of life. With a caring mentor, the rearrest rate drops by 75%. Help Juvenile Justice Ministry to stop the cycle.
I love that moment at the end, the chalk. It's so good. And you see the mentor just stop the cycle. So I now have the honor of introducing Daniel Sanabria, who is the Executive Director of Youth for Christ. Thank you for joining us tonight, Daniel.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
It's probably not every day that a dance company approaches you to create art together, right? So what was your first reaction when you heard from Amalgamate about Commercials for Humanity? What did you see out of this partnership?
Yeah, I was just like, this is amazing how we could bring this message into art, into dance. And when I heard about you guys approaching us, I was a little bit like, well, how can we do this? But the track record you guys are doing is incredible. The amount of effort and the amount of passion you guys have, I couldn't say no to it. So when we heard it, like this partnership is perfect. And when I saw this video for the first time, I was like, Lord, this is amazing. A message of hope through dance.
That's awesome. I love that. We're meant to work together.
Yes.
So, so that's you kind of just answered my next question, which is like, what was your reaction to the video? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, this video is very powerful. You know, the lady with the orange suit, we see that in a daily basis of young people, you know, walking into the facilities and wearing the same uniform, and it's just it just messes up the young person. They don't want to do this. They don't want to be there. And I know, yes, they made a mistake. Yes, there's consequences for your mistakes. But when I saw that, but when I saw this like angel come along beside her, we're in the white. I think it's us, the individual, the citizens that want to make a difference in some young person's life. And so I think that just portrays what we want to do on a daily basis, not a weekly basis, not a once a week or once a month, but a daily basis, to walk with these young people, especially young people that are incarcerated. These are kids that are in broken homes, broken neighborhoods, broken families. So I think you guys hit it right on the money. And
I love what you saw an angel in the white. That's Gerard. And to me, that was our mentor who was like walking alongside the youth. And, you know, I was like reflecting a little bit about, because I know that's what you guys are looking for too, is like mentors to really come and volunteer and help and walk with these kids who need mentorship and someone to look up to. And I had to do this podcast, and I was thinking about the mentors in my life and how life transforming they were. Like, to the T, I would not have done X, Y, and Z if that person had not come into my life. So it's awesome what you guys are doing and trying to rally more mentors to help these young people, right? They're the future.
Yes.
So let's get into the details of what your organization does. What do you do?
Yeah, we're a faith-based organization. And what we do is we go into the facilities every week and we meet with young people. We want to just to show them that how much we care about them and love them. I truly love them. Yesterday we were at the facility doing a toy drive, and kids had an opportunity to grab a toy for their siblings. See, that is something out of, out of like, wait a minute, this is what you guys really want to do. You want to support us by giving toys to our families that we can't go outside to a store. We want to walk beside them and see them through in life. And so we have a team going there weekly. They see the same kids all the time. And the key word is consistency.
Yeah.
And when these kids see us 6 weeks later, they're like, wait a minute, you really do care about us, really love us. And we're not a program. Many programs, they come in for 6 months and they leave because the budget is gone. We're there with no budget or with budget because we want to see kids go further. So our goal is to walk with them inside, and when they come outside, follow them back into the community. Today, I took a young man that was part of my community. He's in Crown Heights, and I took him to Pearl date officer, and he said, thank you. Those moments are key to them. Like, wait, you really care about me. You're from my neighborhood and you really care about me. See, these kids only know a certain, area of their block, but if they just go a little further, they'll meet people that really care. And so we told them, hey, I really care about you. And today he was like, sometimes I want to be alone. I says, well, man, I feel bad for you because you're not going to be alone anymore. I'm going to be here for the rest of your life. And he's just like, Danny, man, he goes, Dan, I really love you. I'm like, this is what we do, man. I'm not here to see you go back into the hood and do what you have to do. I want to see you do. I want to see you get a job, career, and a family, not to be like me, but to encourage you to be who you're supposed to be. And so we spiritual, physically, and mentally, we want to walk with these kids. So that's what we do. We go in and we see them through the process. We go to the court dates. We go back to their houses. We support their families and say, hey, we're here long term.
It's beautiful. It's like you're like this new foundation and these like new
Yeah.
pillars for them that are consistently there. That's awesome. So how and when did you get involved with Youth for Christ?
Yeah, I've been a youth leader, pastor for a very long time in my local church, in my local community. I've been involved with sports programs for about 20 years. I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids that got arrested a couple of times. I was one of those rough kids in the neighborhood. And when I really found my identity, I really found my purpose. And there were 10 awesome mentors in my life that really took care of me. My mom and dad were great, but there were people in my life that said, Danny, you're not going that route.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were there for me. Teachers, coaches, business owners, they believed in me. And so, and as a Latino, statistics of where I come from, it's not good for us, right? I graduated college because of mentorship, right? And so I said to myself, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Work with young people, help them through. My dad came from Puerto Rico. He had no father, nobody in his life. But what he did have was a local church on the block that took him in when he was 14 years old. And he told me there were men and mentors in the neighborhood that served him. So I said, I want to do that. I want to see kids get out of their neighborhoods or be different in their neighborhoods and change. So when Youth for Christ organization came to me and says, Danny, we want to hire you for New York City chapter, I was 100% behind it. I said, let's do more. But when they told me to go into the facilities, into jails where I've been there before, but not the other way, the other way around. They told me, Danny, can you work with these kids? And when I met a girl, 14 years old, and pregnant, and she got arrested because of robbery, and she stood there for a couple of days, I said to myself, God just said hey, Danny, you got to do this. You got to serve these kids and do your best on it. And so 4 years later, we're in the facilities. The city loves us. We care for them. We support them, and we want to do a lot more. So, it's in my blood, if you could say. It's in my blood.
Yeah, I love that you're using your life experiences to help others. It's such an authentic way to approach the work too, right?
Exactly.
It's incredible. We need more Daniels. Calling all Daniels. So how? The most important question that I would ask you tonight is, how can people get involved to help, right?
Yeah. The question is, are you willing to make a difference in a kid's life? And it's not a check. I always talk to people that want to be mentors. It's not a checklist of what you've done in your life. It's how much you want to do in someone's life, not your life. Because a lot of people come and volunteer, and I can only do 3 weeks, 3 months. We're looking for people that are in it and say, man, I want to do life with these kids.
Yeah.
And so how you get involved, go to our website, yfcnyc.org. And you could just email us, apply to get involved. You'll be a part of our See the Stories, where we talk about our mission and vision. And we just cast the net and see how many people we can bring into the facility. My vision is a big vision. So we want 1,000 mentors in New York City.
That's 200 per vision.
200 per borough. We want kids that when they come back home and you live in, and that kid lives in your neighborhood, guess what? We want to call you and say, there's a kid in your neighborhood that just came out. He needs a mentor. Would you walk with him? And that's what we want to see. And so please, love to volunteer, love to join us and be a part of an amazing experience of walking with these kids. Listen, I walk with these young people that have a different life that I have, a different life. I'm talking to kids that have done big crimes.
Yeah.
And guess what? There are babies. And if you just be consistent with them, man, they will never leave your side. They will never leave your side. Their decision will be a little bit different because what you poured in their lives, what you said in their lives, what you took them to lunch or took them to, to a movie or bought them something, help them out. I've done a lot of Uber Eats, tell you right now, a lot of Uber Eats to these young people, but I guarantee you every Uber Eat, they understand that, man, this guy really loves me.
Yeah.
This guy really cares about me. So it's exciting to be involved. And this is not easy work. And I wish I could say, oh, it's gonna be great. It's not easy. I've been yelled at, screamed at, but guess what? That kid that yelled at me and screamed at called me one day and said, Danny, got a job, Danny. And
That's huge. That's amazing.
And thank you for supporting me, Danny.
Yeah. It almost reminds me of like some version of like fostering someone, like fostering a child in a sense, right? Like maybe a smaller commitment in a sense, but you're still showing up and being consistent and carving out that time. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom around this and for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you guys for everything. Thank you for that awesome dance. I wish I could dance like that, but I can't wait to keep on sharing that vision to people and that dance, because you guys really sent a great message of hope.
That's awesome. Cool. Keep pushing it around. We'll be doing the same. Just spread the word and help people learn more about what you all are doing. It's magnificent. All right. So now over to Sarah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah. I'm one of the dancers and a board member with Amalgamate. And now we have the great pleasure of speaking to Manuela Sanchez, who's a dancer. She's been with Amalgamate how many years now, Manny? You're on mute.
Oh, sorry, guys. Hi, everybody. I believe I joined you guys in 2012. So it's
yeah.
a while. Yeah. I'm happy to still be here with you guys.
So, obviously, if we filmed this back in, was it November now? And you just got to see Stop the Cycle. What was your reaction?
My first reaction was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Because, it looks so different than, being on the stage and rehearsing it. I love what they did with the videography and everything. And I also love the talking. I didn't know it was going to be talking over the music. It just made it so much more deeper. Like, I felt it on a whole nother level, even though I was feeling it dancing, but I don't know, the text just adds another level to it. It was really touching. Touching, yeah.
And so you were the lady in orange?
Yes.
The video. What did you have to do, or how did you find a way to connect to that character, basically the person who is stuck in this cycle of violence?
So fortunately and unfortunately, I didn't have to do much. So I'm from Brooklyn, Bushwick. I grew up in Bushwick my whole life. And growing up, there were many stories of youth that fell into crime and, got with gangs just because they didn't have mentorship. They didn't have anything going for them. And it was almost like a race. It's like, all right, who's going to make it out the hood? It was kind of like, that was kind of the phrase, and fortunately, my mom worked really hard to keep me in dance. Dance was my mentor, I will say. Dance kept me focused and, eyes on the prize, eyes on the goal. But, it was so sad to hear, such and such got locked up last week, and so has been in jail now for 2 years. And, I know quite a few people who that happened to growing up, and it just breaks my heart because they didn't have that person that could just guide them in the right direction, that person or that thing, because sometimes it can be a thing, whether it's sports. For me, it was dance, that just keeps you out of trouble and keeps you going in the right direction. And it just breaks my heart that I know people personally that didn't have that opportunity. So really, when I was dancing, I just tapped into my childhood and, those names that I remember that went through that. And to this day, I'm not sure what happened to them. Because, I had to keep pushing forward to, for my own, for lack of a better way to put it, survival. And I don't know what happened to them. And that really breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about the details of what happens in the dance. So it's, there's a lot packed into those 90 seconds or so. Walk us through it. Where do we start?
So the beginning is representing the cycle. We have, there's 4 dancers in the circle, and each one has a specific movement that they're repeating, and that's the cycle. So the 4 movement, like mine was crime. The next person's was arrest. That was you. The next person, which was Sean, was court appearance. This one, yes. And then the last one was detention with the hands there. And then we all found a moment of release. That's when we did this thing all together. But then we fell back into our routine, back into like the same, cycle. And, it's basically representing that cycle. Then Gerard, who's in white, comes in and he's my mentor. So he, he's coming into my life and he's trying to stop me continuing the cycle. So I'm continuing the cycle, but I'm getting more and more tired. I don't want to be in the cycle anymore. I want to find a way to break it. And he's guiding me through that. So there's like in our partnering movement, you see him kind of catch me as I fall. You see him kind of guide me in a turn. So he's really guiding me, you know, to break this cycle and just to become better. But I am tempted. So there's a part where, you know, he's guiding me, and then I'm kind of like in between two. I start running around the circle, and I go to each of the other dancers as they're doing their movement. They're still in the cycle. They're stuck. Just like, you know, growing up, there were still other people stuck in that cycle, but I was able to push forward. So I'm going to each of them, and they're stuck in the cycle, and it's like almost tempting. Like the cycle's there, I can easily fall into it, but I'm so tired of that. I don't want to fall into that anymore. So I finally, when I run to Gerard and I hug him, it's like he's my savior. I'm latching onto him. I'm gonna follow his guidance so I can really not fall in the cycle anymore.
Great. And that's the moment where we see the chalk.
Yes.
That's what it was like to work with the chalk. And then how did you get that big poof?
First of all, I didn't know the poof was going to be that big. I myself was like, whoa, that was so cool at the end. So it was actually pretty easy. Surprisingly, we had chalk, which, I mean, I remember eating chalk that day. I tasted it. It was in my eyes, ears, everywhere. But I had it in my palms, and so did he. So, you know, we ran into each other, and we used kind of the momentum of the run. He kind of like caught me with all that momentum, and I splat the chalk on his back, and that's what made it kind of poof up that way.
In your opinion, what does the chalk represent?
The chalk represents kind of like freedom, like a release, like something's being broken, and that's what remains of whatever was broken. So the cycle, or whatever was keeping me in the cycle, was broken, and that's what it let out into the air. Like it just released it, and I'm free of it.
Right. It's like there's been like glue, like there was a glue, and then the glue just dissipates or disappears.
Yeah. Or like maybe there was like a wall I couldn't get past, and you know, I just like broke it, and that's all the yeah.
And now you mentioned that dance was your mentor. How did you first come to dance?
I always liked to dance. I mean, my mom tells me stories of when I was a little girl, when I was a baby or like a toddler, I would watch the TV and start mimicking things I would see in the TV, like movement wise. So that led her to put me in dance classes. I started dance classes when I was in 3rd grade. And I remember like I completed my first year of dance. I had my recital, and I remember going to my mom being like, can I do this again next year? And she was like, of course. So she just kept signing me up. And yeah, I just kept going with it. I mean, I signed up for more and more classes. I remember my dance teacher, we were like maybe by this time, like 14, she sat us down, and she kind of went deeper with us. Like, all right, you have all been doing these dance classes for a long time. I want you to start to think about what dance means to you, and, you know, how long do you want to do this, and do you want to do this as a profession? And that's when it kind of like clicked. I was like, you can do this as a profession, like this could be my job. So that's when I decided, like, all right, this is what I want to do forever. So and now I'm here,
and the world is a better place because of it.
I mean, the world is a better place because dance exists in general, I think. So
it's true. Definitely, it's an outlet for whatever this is.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have words. I'm an answer.
Exactly.
Okay, final question before we go to the Q&A. If there are any questions out there, put those in the chat. Manny, what's your favorite move from this piece?
The release. Oh, I actually did it already, but I'll do it again. So so we start in this position here with like fist, and there's like a lot of tension, but then you release it, and you're bringing that release to you. It's like you're bringing that freedom and that new way or that new perspective to you. That's my favorite part, because that's sort of in the towards the beginning. We have all these shapes that are so powerful and strong, and then we have this moment of release. And I think in any situation like that, you've been under a lot of stress, when you have that moment of relief, it's just like you're just so thankful for that moment. And that's what I found in that moment there.
I hear you, sister. Well, Lenny, thank you. Now we're going to invite Alana and Daniel back to the screen for our Q&A section. Hello, Alana and Daniel. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to get us started off, let's have I'm looking through the questions. For Daniel, how has COVID affected what your organization does in the past year?
Yeah, it has been a very tough because when COVID hit, we shut down everything. We were one of the last programs to leave the facility. But one of my mentors told me, don't cancel, just replace. And so what we did was we just be creative. And so we did an art project. Kids did art, and basically they made the designs in their facility. We dropped the papers off. They did it, and we made it big posters, and we put it all over New York City, showing the city how much they care about their city. And that was the theme behind it. And so we just did things like that. We fed them every single week for pizza parties, showing them we love them, we care for them. And we did some prayer boxes. They did the prayer, they wanted to pray for something, they'll send us a prayer box. So that's how we did. We communicated with the program directors, telling them what they need from us. You just give us a call. And one kid broke 3 TVs last year, the ones we bought for them last year. And they said, can you replace the ones you bought for us? And we're like, absolutely. We're going to serve the kids. We want them TVs. And we're like, please, hopefully don't break them. Because no matter what, we just want to love them and serve on them and care for them and say, hey, guys, we're here for the long term. When we came back, they were like, we're back. And we're now in the facilities every single week. We buy them Chick-fil-A. We take care of them. We serve them. And the great thing about it is that we're one-on-one with them, mentoring. And this COVID, yes, it hurt us. We've seen a lot of distance in some way with young people, but, we got back strong, and the facilities know and the leadership knows that we care for them and we love them, and they know that for a fact. It's not like, we're just here just to have fun. We're here to love on them and serve them.
I love that story about the TVs. It's like,
yeah.
Like no matter what, you can't harden our hearts. We're going to show up for you, and we're going to provide no matter what you do.
Exactly. It's when they saw that TVs, they're like, oh snap! And they told them Youth for Christ bought it. They're like, these kids, and they're smart. They know that they could smell you if you're faking it. If you're faking it or just here just to get paid.
Yeah.
And when they know that you're there for them, man, it's great. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I think to continue on that line of questioning, Manny, you are a Pilates teacher and dancer. How has this year affected your work in your industry?
It's affected it majorly. I haven't, really been working as much. I had several gigs that got canceled. I was supposed to go to Italy for 2 weeks. I know, my heart. And it was really actually hard for me because 2019, I have an ongoing spinal injury with, herniated discs, which I've dealt with pretty well, but I had to take a lot of time off in 2019 to heal properly and, get strong again. So in my mind, 2020 was it. I was going to be like dancing left and right and performing. I had this goal to perform every month or every other month. And then COVID hit. And it was like, womp womp. So that was really hard for me. And then, teaching Pilates, that's my way of sharing movement with others and, healing others through movement. And I really miss it. I really miss just that exchange and sharing with others because as we all have been so isolated because we spend so much time at home now. So it's just not the same teaching on Zoom as it is teaching in person. So yeah, it's been hard to say the least.
Well, hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there. And since you mentioned Italy, Alana, is there any Amalgamate has an Italy program? Any future dance programs in Italy?
Absolutely. This summer, probably not, just because the planning is still on hold, but 100% we plan to restore those programs. We have a contemporary study program in Italy where dancers can study the language and perform and just immerse themselves in the culture and just be inspired. And there's also a yoga program that runs right on next to it, just for people who want to relax and just get out of their normal space and clear their head, whatever they need to restore. And beyond Italy, we are considering some other places that we might create some more intensive. So if you have any ideas of places that you would love to go and dance for a purpose, shoot them our way. You can send them in the chat now if you want, or just email me later. I always love getting feedback.
Great. So we are at 8:30, but for our last question, we're going to do a quick fire round around the room. And the question is, what do you hope, or what's your hope for 2021?
Oh.
Elena, go.
I hope that people use what they learned in 2020. Like, I feel like I'm forever changed. I want to be a part of helping other people in a collective manner more than ever. More than ever. And that I would never have gotten to that point if 2020 hadn't happened.
True that. Manny, how about you?
Actually, along the same lines as Elena just said, I hope we can maintain a certain level of awareness. I feel like a lot of people woke up this year, Italy, and it was just so great. It was time. I hope we can maintain that, grow closer as a whole, like everyone, and just keep opening our eyes to each other more and more, because I mean, that's what's going to make the world better. It's going to heal the world, because the world needs healing too, you know, not just the humans in it. So that's my hope for 2021.
Daniel.
Hopefully I can join a dance group. I don't know. But maybe I can, you know. Yeah, I think 2021, you know, I can't say it's going to be a great year, because you never know. We thought about 2020, you know, it was going to be a great year. But I think for myself, I just want to be a good father, good husband, and, you know, really engage in people's lives more. I think this 2020 really realized that, yeah, you did so good. You know, we're doing good stuff. But reality is, you know, it's more than that. It's more than a program. It's life on life. And I hope that, you know, my life is going to do right with people and be honest and show love, show hope, show peace to people around me, especially these young people that need it most. If you don't know, the statistics of young people with this COVID has really reached a high for them. Many kids are committing suicide. They're lonely. They're more depressed. And so if I could be that help and serve them this next year, man, I want to be there. And I want to encourage other more people around me to do the same. So I'm really excited that what we could do a lot more in 2021.
Great. And to close this off, I'll answer too. And I would say, I hope for clarity, goodness, and beauty. So with that, over to Elena to close us off.
Well said. Okay, so that's such a great question. I encourage everyone to just sort of reflect on what you would say for 2021 for yourself and the world. So as we near the end of our live stream tonight, I want to quickly share how you can get involved and support. You can donate, volunteer, or spread the word. There are 2 ways you can donate specifically to Youth for Christ Juvenile Justice Ministry. You can give directly to their organization on our Commercials for Humanity page, where they get 80% and Amalgamate gets 20%. or you can give to the combined Commercials for Humanity. For every dollar spent, it's a 5-way split between the 4 partner causes and Amalgamate. So you'd be supporting all of the causes we're working with: homelessness, racial injustice, economic hardship, and refugees. To donate and learn more, you can visit www.commercialsforhumanity.com. You can see it on the ticker there below. And there are also ways that you can support by volunteering. Amalgamate lists a handful of roles that are available on our website. You can email info@amalgamatedance.com. And for Youth for Christ, a juvenile justice ministry, clearly, as we just heard, they're looking for mentors to go through a training and approval process. And the goal is 1,000. So be one of those. Maybe that's your 2021. They have a private Facebook page called 1,000 People. So check that out to make a life-changing impact in someone's life. All right, so finally, the last way is to help us just spread the word about Amalgamate's work and this piece. You can share it in social media, email it to your friends, tell your coworkers, however you want to do it. Our mission is to transform lives, and the only way that we can do that is by getting our work in front of as many people as possible. You can take action now, tonight. Simply click on the YouTube link that we just posted in the chat. Okay, make sure you take a look at that. And go watch the commercial now for the full experience on YouTube. That's where you get the full sound experience. You can like it there and add your comments and just share away. You can also view all of our past commercials while you're there. So thank you again for joining us tonight and taking action now in support of Youth for Christ Juvenile Justice Ministry. Thank you all for joining, and have a great night.